Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Choppin It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Hey, it was a light night in the NBA last night, but I guess there was more news off the court than there was on the court last night. First of all, let's start with what took place early in the day. Toronto, and this is not surprising at all. We knew it. We knew coming into the season that signing a Jared Sullinger was really a desperate move to try to replace the departure of Bismack Biyombo at the power forward spot. But that move never panned out because Jared Sullinger was hurt. And I don't even think he had a chance to suit up yet for the season. But nevertheless, it left a void at power forward. And there was always some concerns and talks about maybe trying to fill that spot. And around the league, or just through the fans and talk radio, there was always a thought that maybe a Paul Millsap will go there. And I still think eventually Paul Millsap may wind up in Toronto after the season is over. But nevertheless, they made a splash. They made news yesterday. And they went out there and they traded for Serge Ibaka. And I thought that was a much-needed move. I think it's a good move. And I think it's a move that could move the needle for Toronto. Toronto has been reeling since the start of the new year, January. They had a major injury, it appeared, or suffered an injury to DeMar DeRozan, where he sat out for quite a few games. And in fact, when he came back, he did not look like himself or get back into game, like he was game ready. And as a result, they lost quite a few games. So they make a move. They sent a first-round pick along with Terrence Ross to Orlando in exchange for Ibaka. Now, Ibaka, once upon a time, was always nominated for Defensive Player of the Year. He used to be a nice little rim protector, a very good rebounder for OKC. And I still think he has that potential. There was a moment in his career where someone told him that he could be more of a shooter, and they stretched his game out until he even reached the three-point range. Prior to that, he had a nice little decent jump shot from about 10 to 12 feet. But the more he stepped further and further out, it seemed like maybe his offense increased, but his defense decreased, and that's what made his bread and butter. It was the defense and the rebounding that he received his big contract on. So let's see if he can get back to that form or to those days, because if so, then this is exactly what Toronto need. They need a rebounder, a defensive presence at the four, and someone who can also step out and hit the jump shot. Not necessarily from three, but step out and hit the jump shot and open up the lanes open up the lanes for DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, who can do their penetration and go to the basket. Now, I'll tell you this. He's averaging 15 and a half points a game, so he still has the ability to score. And he was playing with an Orlando Magic team that really, I don't know what the plans are over there. They don't, I don't know. They don't really have a starting point guard there. They have a lot of big men. They're cluttered over there, so him getting traded to Toronto is probably the best news that he wanted to see and hear. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Some people look at it as a rental. But if he plays well, hey, they have their rights. They can retain him. I think it's a win-win for Toronto. They saved $10 million off of Terrence Ross's contract. If they don't re-sign Ibaka, that's another $14 million. At the end of the year, that's $24 million. And that's enough money to go out there and try not only retain Kyle Lowry, but also to go out there and, as I said, possibly go after Millsap in the offseason. And I don't think that's a far-fetched move. Keep this in mind. When Millsap, before he really established himself and made himself a household name in Atlanta, he played in Utah for a couple of seasons. But along in Utah, guess who else he played with there? DeMar Carroll. The both of them found their way together and their niche in Atlanta, and they had a successful run. In fact, they both was on that front court that led that Atlanta Hawks to a number one seed and a 60-win season. So with Damari Carroll in Toronto, could he lure his former teammate of two teams to Toronto to fill that power forward spot if the Ibaka experiment should fail or don't work out? Something to keep an eye on, but nevertheless, I believe that the trade of Ibaka definitely moves the needle for Toronto. And keep this in mind, although they lost last night to the Chicago Bulls and lost for the 11th time, I think making this move before the All-Star break allows Ibaka to get the playbook or get familiar with some of the things that they do during the week off for the All-Star weekend. So that this way, for this stretch run, he'll be ready to go when he joins the team. He won't be as lost. He'll have some knowledge or he'll be familiar with some of the things that they run, some of the plays and the sets and so forth. So I think the timing of the trade was good. And unfortunately, they did lose the game against Chicago last night. And surprisingly, with the success that Toronto's had the last couple of seasons, this is the 11th consecutive win for Chicago over Toronto. I actually find that astounding. I didn't think that would be the case. Let's put it that way. So, but moving along, Cleveland made news yesterday, other than on the court, but also off the court, as they announced Kevin Love will be out for 6 weeks. Do they wish they had made that move for Kevin Love for Carmelo now? I doubt if that is still on the table, and I doubt if that happens. I think Melo will be with the Knicks to the rest of the season. But that's an unfortunate situation for Kevin Love. Kevin Love has been playing well. He's having his best season with Cleveland, and it's unfortunate that he suffered this injury. Now, with that said, this was an opportunity for Shannon Fry to get the nod at the starting power forward. And last night against Minnesota, he did not disappoint. He came off 21 points, 10 rebounds. Great effort by him. LeBron, I believe he led all scorers. He had a near triple-double, something like 26 points, 12 assists, 12 assists and 8 rebounds, something like that. Kyrie Irving, he had 20-plus points. So it was a good night for Cleveland. But it was a challenging night for Cleveland as they had to fight off the youngsters over in Minnesota. As Wiggins, he had 41 points on the night. And Karl Anthony Towns had 26. And Rubio had 5 points and 16 assists. Think about that for a second. 5 points and 16 assists. A tremendous game by that three there. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to upset the visiting champions Cleveland Cavaliers. I guess the experience and just having LeBron on the court at the end of the game may have made a difference. But this is a young team, Minnesota, that have some players. They're going to find their way. They're not getting no bench help. Losing Zach LaVine for the season, it's definitely going to hurt. I wouldn't be surprised if they look to try to move somebody and get a veteran presence over there. I wouldn't be surprised if a Taj Gibson makes his way over there. I wish Tibbs was in love with Noah. I would love to send Noah over there. Oh, in a heartbeat. But I'd love to send Joakim Noah to Minnesota. But I doubt that will happen. I would trade for Rubio if they took Derrick Rose and Noah. If they attach Noah's contract to Derrick Rose's, I'll make that trade in a heartbeat for Ricky Rubio. In a heartbeat. Not that I like Ricky Rubio, not that I think he's the better point guard than Derrick Rose. I just need to get rid of Joakim Noah's contract. If that's the way to do it, it'll be done by my eyes. That's $17 million for the next 3 years. That's going to be tough on New York as they look to try to bring in free agents and so forth. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. Speaking of New York, Dolan lifted the ban against Charles Oakley. Charles Oakley, he respects that, but he's looking for a public apology from James Dolan to not only him, but to the fans of New York. And you know what? I think that the fans and Charles Oakley should get just that. I think James Dolan should make a public announcement, a public apology in the direction of the fans, New York fans, and Charles Oakley. What he did was distasteful and disgraceful. And I don't think Charles Oakley deserved that. I don't think Charles Oakley should have behaved in the manner that he did. But I don't think Charles Oakley should have been put in that position to where he felt he had to defend himself or even find himself in an unfortunate situation. All Charles Oakley did was come to the game, sat down a couple of rows behind him. James Dolan was intimidated or felt threatened just by Charles Oakley's presence, and he summons for security for no reason at all. For no reason at all. But at the end of the day, it's good to see that the commissioner stepped in. They met. Everyone spoke. A resolution came from it. Hopefully, this is the beginning of something new, and the Knicks can build from there. They're on the road tonight against OKC, and it would be a nice win if they can accomplish that to go into the All-Star break. The All-Star break now is about a week long. For those who doesn't participate in the festivities, they get a chance to rest, maybe visit some family members, and just kind of chillax a little bit. I think it would do some good for a guy like Carmelo, being that he's not in the All-Star. He can rest his ailing shoulder a little bit. Not only that, keep in mind he played in the Olympics this past summer. He could use the rest. He could be on fumes at this time of the season. So I'm hoping he's not selected as a replacement for Kevin Love. Because despite how bad the Knicks have played, how dysfunctional they appear, and how much drama surrounds them, and embarrassment that they've suffered, they're only like 3 games out of 8th spot. They actually can come out of the gate at All-Star after the All-Star break and go on a run and get right back in it. And keep this in mind. Some of the top seed teams that will be in the playoffs and know they're in the playoffs, they may start resting players. So they may catch a break playing a team that definitely is going to be challenging to win, but because they're resting players, it may not be so challenging. So it could be favorable for the Knicks. We'll see what happens. I wish they could find a taker. I would give 2 second-round picks and Lance Thomas to Phoenix for P.J. Tucker. Don't know if Lance Thomas is in Phoenix's plan, but 2 second-round picks is not too shabby. I would give 2 second-round picks and Lance Thomas to Phoenix for P.J. Tucker in a heartbeat. They should explore that. The Knicks need a little tweaking. All right? Last night, the Lakers tried to pull up not necessarily upset, but tried to derail Sacramento's players' hopes last night. Well, unfortunately, they took a loss. They got nipped by Sacramento. I believe the score was 97-96. DeMarcus Cousins was just too much for them last night. DeMarcus Cousins had 40 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists last night. It was just too much for the Lakers. They didn't have an answer for him, not at all. What I don't understand, though, and I've been on Luke Walton's side and praising him, but this was an opportunity to play Moscow. I mean, DeMarcus Cousins is a handful. He is absolutely a handful. A handful. Absolutely a handful. With Black and Nance, they're just too small. This was an opportunity to put Cousins, have Moscow on him. At least his size, his athleticism, maybe he could have disrupted him. Maybe he could have prevented some of those offensive rebounds. But nevertheless, Sacramento gets the win on the road at the Staples Center. The Lakers players never really got going. The only player that really got going was Lou Williams. He came off the bench to lead the Lakers with 20. I think Randall had 11. Nick Young had 10. It was just a bad performance somewhat from the Lakers. If they had just got a second player going, they probably could have got the win last night. But the Lakers, I'm not sure what's going on. But when you watch DeMarcus Cousins play like this, you wonder why they would want to trade him or even trade talks come about. And why wouldn't they want to surround him with better talent. I don't know what is going on. There's quite a few dysfunctional organizations in the league right now. New York Knicks, Chicago Bulls, and Sacramento. Take your pick. You can put either one of them at the top, but those are the most dysfunctional teams right now in the NBA, and it's sad. Two of them is in the big markets, has a lot of history. Another one has some glory days, but they have maybe a top 10, top 7 player in the game, and DeMarcus Cousins. You will look for better results there. Look for better results. Look for better results there. All right. Lou Williams is on the trading block. Now, I'm not sure what the Lakers is asking about, but this is a difference maker right here for a playoff team. I'm not sure what team will step up and make a move, but this is a difference maker for a playoff team. Now, with how can I say it? Yeah, with the move by Ibaka for Toronto, with Kevin Love out, does Boston sit pat? Does Washington sit pat? Do they both try to make a move? I tell you what, I don't know if Boston can use him, but Washington could use Lou Williams coming off the bench there. They tried Trey Burke, didn't like too much of that. But a Lou Williams coming off the bench, handling the ball, scoring, playing alongside of John Wall, maybe playing alongside of Bradley Beal, that could be a deadly combination right there if they should get Lou Williams coming off the bench over there. I would plug in a trade. If I'm Washington, I would look to go out and get Lou Williams. Boston, they could use a wing player. I'm not sure if that guy is available, but if a wing player is available for just the end of the season, yeah, I'll look to go get that guy. Or maybe Bogut. If Bogut is cut, or maybe Amir Johnson for Bogut, throwing a second-round pick, that could be an interesting move. You put Bogut there alongside of Horford. He brings you defense. He brings you skill. He doesn't disrupt what you do. He doesn't disrupt the offense. That could be a good move for the Boston Celtics by getting on Andrew Bogut. And remember, he's battle-tested. He's a champion. And he's experienced. So keep an eye on that move right there. What does Cleveland do now that Kevin Love is out? They signed D. Will to a 10-day contract. He's likely to last the season. His first 2 games, 12 points. First game, last night, 13 points. This guy here, he's just an athletic guy that if given playing time and with the right team, he's going to excel. I look for him and J.R. Smith and Kyle Korver to be a real threat on that bench come playoff time. They still need a point guard. I don't think Lou Williams is the guy over there for them. They need a backup point guard. I'm surprised they don't take a look at Nate Robinson, but they do need a backup point guard. Maybe DJ Augustine is available in Orlando. That'd be a nice kind of fit over there. Do they try and make a move with Washington for Trey Burke? That's a point guard that they can use. Those are point guards that they can use coming off the bench. I still think they're looking to get D-Wade, and they're gonna check the waiver wire and see what happens with Rondo in Chicago. So before I close, I just want to let you guys know you can follow me on YouTube. Just type in Troy Ramel Royal. You'll see all my videos. Please go ahead and take a look at them. Subscribe to me. I can use the subscribers. I can use the views. I appreciate you guys tuning in and following in with me. But we'll talk about the All-Star Weekend as we get closer. And it was a light night in college basketball last night, as there was only 4 top 25 games, four top 25 teams playing last night. So we'll talk more about college basketball later in the week. But until tomorrow, I'll see you guys in 24. Peace and blessings. You guys have a safe day. I appreciate you all for tuning in and showing the love. Once again, this is Ramel, chopping it up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat.